Okay, so Hurtigruten, actually, we have been sailing for a very long time, 126 years. And just to talk about COVID and what's happening, just briefly, we've actually have 5 ships that have been cruising this entire time. We have a contract with the Norwegian government that we actually deliver mail and deliver cargo up and down the Norwegian coast. And we are still operating 5 ships through this entire time. Only Norwegians could actually sail on the ship as a passenger, and a lot of times the Norwegian community uses these ships as kind of like a port to port to visit friends and family while they are working ships all the way from Bergen up to Kirkenes. So keep continuing on. We hope that by Q4, Antarctica and some of our other products, that we will be able to operate by Q4. That's pretty much our goal right now. And of course, 22 should be back to normal. And a lot of times people ask me, why Hurtigruten, what makes you different? And the fact that we are 126 years old, part of that is our captains, our third, fourth, fifth generation Norwegian captains. And they are used to sailing in the polar regions and in the waters, like with the ice. They a lot of times train captains from other cruise lines, and they help all of the other cruise lines when they're in these regions because they have so much experience. Other reasons why Hurtigruten, of course, we're the world's leader in exploration travel. The ships are smaller, more intimate, 200 to 500 guests. You actually could get into ports that the larger ships can't get into. And of course, we use our Zodiacs to get into other destinations, even closer in and up close to wildlife and nature. Our shore excursions, our land adventures are really exciting and different. And of course, on board, it's very casual and comfortable, which we'll get into. We are very committed to sustainability. And some of the ways that we are committed is that we have totally green technology. Our ships, 2 of our ships, our newer ships, are hybrid. So the first battery operated ships to come out. And then the other ships actually use biofuel. And biofuel is made from like dead fish and waste and other things, but they do not pollute the waters. And the technology is just perfect for making sure that we keep our oceans clean and preserving our waters. We protect our wildlife and we give back to the communities that we sail into. In addition to that, you will not find any single-use plastic on board the ships. So there are no straws anywhere, there's no water bottles, and you actually get a metal water bottle in your cabin that you get to keep, and we have water stations throughout the ship. Our food is sustainable, and then we have the Hurtigruten Academy and the Hurtigruten Foundation, which we then raise money and give back to the communities. Talking about the hybrid ships, it's the Nansen and the Amundsen, which are our 2 hybrid ships. And the first one, we had to name the Roald Amundsen, and he's a famous explorer because at age 10, he had the vision that he wanted to have an electric ship that could break through the ice. So of course, when we were naming the very first hybrid ship, we had to name the ship after Roald Amundsen. So on board, like I said before, it's very comfortable. It's very informal. We built the ships from the inside looking out, floor to ceiling windows, so that anywhere you are on the ship, you're able to see wildlife and see like the stunning views. You could be as active or relaxed on your days at sea, and the cabins and the suites are very cozy, and I'm going to show you some of them. Very Scandinavian, clean design. There's fireplaces throughout the ship, but they're not real fireplaces, but they give out warmth and they are create that cozy atmosphere on board. We have jacuzzis, we have pools on board that are heated because most of our destinations are cold weather destinations, but the cabins are really comfortable. On the new ships, all of the cabins are ocean view, balcony, and suites. There are no inside cabins on the Amundsen and the Nansen. Here's some more examples of the staterooms. And then our expedition team. I mean, I think this is what sets us apart from other cruise lines, from other destinations. And if you are interested in learning and just exploring, our expedition team actually comes from all different backgrounds. So we have someone that is an expert in photography. We have someone for bird watching. We have scientists on board. We have people that know the history. And this team is who will be doing the lectures every day, a couple times a day actually, to talk to you about like what you're going to see the next day, what ports of call you're going to do the next day. They also go with you to your landing. We call it a landing versus a shore excursion, where you actually get on the Zodiacs and you land in these destinations, and the expedition team is there to tell you what you should be looking at, tell you, you know, different things about the wildlife, about the area. So they make sure you're safe, they help you out, and they will teach you the entire time. A lot of times people feel like they're afraid of expedition, right? Because they think maybe they are not physically able to do an expedition. But this is the reason I put these pictures into this PowerPoint, is so that you see how easy it is and how they are here to help you. So there's our landing platform and you just walk onto the Zodiacs. It's like walking into a bathtub. If you're able to step into a bathtub, you could step onto a Zodiac. And the guys are always there to help you on and off. Here's a better picture of it on the Amundsen. We actually have an area where you're getting onto the Zodiacs and then the other area where you're getting off. And when you are doing an expedition, you're actually vacuuming out like your backpacks and making sure you're not bringing anything from the ship onto the land. And then when you come back to the ship, you are cleaning your boots and making sure, again, you're not bringing anything onto the ship. So there's this whole procedure in doing a landing. So again, sometimes we have to do a wet landing, but we have these little stairs, little stairs that go into the water, and you step right onto the Zodiac that way. We have the ramps, and then this picture down in the right-hand side is actually Antarctica. So the expedition team, if there's snow, will actually shovel out a staircase in the snow and then help everyone up to go and see the penguins. So what's included in your expedition? Of course, your expedition team, like we talked about. You get an expedition jacket, so you get to keep the jacket, and we have all kinds of sizes on board. I think up to like XXXL and extra smalls. So there's a jacket for everyone. You get the reusable aluminum bottle that I was talking about. Of course, all of your activities on board, your lectures, the loan of boots. We have these muck boots, which I'll show you a picture, that you just borrow while you're on your cruise. And we, of course, clean them really well between sailings, but you keep them in your cabin the entire time. So you don't have to pack heavy boots when you're going on an expedition. We have trekking poles and all your other equipment. We have kayaks, we have camping equipment if you wanted to do camping in Antarctica. Everything that you need is on board the ship. Of course, all of your food, we now have free beer and wine at meal times, all of your onboard recreation and your onboard activities. Here's a picture of the jacket, and then those are the boots that I was talking about. And a day in Antarctica. And the reason I put this slide in here is because we have the two ships, the Nansen and the Amundsen, that are both 500 passengers in a normal time. Right now, we're not filling the ship to full capacity, but in a normal time, there are 500 people, and you could only have 100 people on board or on shore at a time in Antarctica and in the national parks of Greenland. So we do this rotation, and half of the group, 100, 100, 100, 5 times, but we break it up so that you're not just sitting around waiting to do a landing. There's something going on for everybody at all times. So 8 o'clock breakfast, 9 o'clock maybe your lecture. You may do kayaking or hiking, a special shore X there. Lunch, we do cruising. We do what we call ice cruising or scenic cruising on the Zodiac. So you're actually getting into the Zodiac and you're cruising around looking for wildlife and looking at ice, but you're not actually on board or on land. I keep saying that. And again, the lectures, the spas, and the gyms on board, and then recapping the day in the lounge with the expedition team. So it's a rotation, like I said, and you're never going to just be sitting around. There's something to do at all times. So one other big thing for us is our science center on board. So there's a true science center with microscopes and books, and it's right outside of the lecture halls. And we do lectures in like a couple of different languages, but they're broken up into different rooms. But there is always a scientist, one of the expedition teams working in the science center and there to teach you again. You may want to pick up some samples when you're on land and you bring them back to the ship and you're able to look at them through the microscopes. So it's all about learning. Again, our wellness centers, we do have indoor-outdoor gym with a running track, wellness centers and saunas, pools, hot tubs, and then services. The services that we do on board are massages and facials. We do not do hair, we do not do nails, because on an expedition, you really don't need your hair and nails done. And of course, our food. Our food is really, really good. We have this whole Norwegian kitchen. So the Explorers Lounge is the main lounge, and we usually serve some sort of light breakfast there, afternoon snack in there, and then people usually go back to the Explorers Lounge for an after dinner drink. The main dining room, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we have had buffets in the past. Again, we have stopped with the buffets. Everything is table service right now. That may go back once the rules change with COVID, but right now there are no buffets. The Frodheim is if you were really just wanting some casual tacos or a burger or a beer and a burger one day when you're on a cruise. That's our casual restaurant. There's no extra cost to go into the Frodheim. And then, of course, the Lindstrom. And the Lindstrom is our specialty dining area. And usually guests go there once or twice the whole time that they're on their cruise for a special occasion or a special night out. And there is an extra cost. It's €35 to go into the Lindstrom unless you are in a suite, and then it's complimentary. A little bit about our fleet, and again, the Roald Amundsen and the Fridtjof Nansen, both named after famous explorers, 264 cabins. And like I said, for Antarctica, we limit it to 500. And right now we're limiting it to about 50% of the ship at this point. But all ocean view, 50% private balconies, 3 restaurants, science centers, brand new, beautiful ships just came out in the last 2 years. And then we have the Spitsbergen. The Spitsbergen is actually our smallest ship, and it's only 94 cabins. And the Spitsbergen goes mainly around Spitsbergen. So Spitsbergen, a lot of people have never heard of Svalbard or Longyearbyen. You actually fly into Longyearbyen, which is part of Norway. And Spitsbergen is the island, and we do cruises around Spitsbergen, where this is where you go to see all of the polar bears. This is where they live. More polar bears than people live in Svalbard. Then we have the Fram, and the Fram is 125 cabins, but the Fram tends to get a following. This is our ship that we do the longer voyages on. If you're doing Antarctica with the Fram, it's the longer to the Falkland Islands. The Fram does our Northwest Passage cruises. And it just seems for some reason that once somebody goes on the Fram, they continue to want to go on the Fram. They get to know the expedition team, the crew, the officers. It's a very much a family feel on board, and people just love the ship. The Autosphere Drop is a new, not a new ship, but a ship that we completely redid and renamed the Autosphere Drop. And right now the ship is going to be out of Hamburg, Germany, doing Expedition Norway cruises. So going from Hamburg all the way up to the Norwegian fjords and back. And some of the places that we go, and this is going to keep changing and we're going to keep growing, constantly looking at new places to explore. But right now it's Antarctica, it's Alaska. We were supposed to be in Alaska for the first time in 2021, or actually in 2020 and then 2021, and now it's going to be 2022. Svalbard, like I talked about earlier, Iceland, Greenland, the Northwest Passage. Northwest Passage for 2022 is already sold out, so we have just opened 2023. North America sailings, Mexico, South America, and of course, Central America. One couple of things I want to mention about Alaska for us. We go out of Vancouver up to Seward, and then we will include the train to Anchorage, so you could spend a couple of extra days in Anchorage, but it's very different. Again, we go to the ports of calls that the other ships do not go to. It's not the mainstream areas at all. And it's a lot of hiking, a lot of wildlife, a lot of, sightseeing and just being with nature. There's not a lot of souvenir shops or restaurants or any of that in our ports of call. It's for people who really just want to be one with the wildlife. And of course, Norway. I mean, we are a Norwegian company. So this is pretty much our core and what we really know. But something new that we just started doing this year again is Expedition Norway. So it's different from those coastal ships that I had talked about when I first started. These are actually ships that you go to one or two ports of call in a day, and a shore excursion each day is included. Again, beer and wine is included, free internet. We don't really, gratuities are like different for us because we are a Norwegian company and they don't expect gratuities. So they will not put like on your cabin folio, you will not have tips on there. You would have to go to the front desk and actually say, I really want to tip my waiter or my cabin steward. It's not expected at all with us. And of course, it's year-round Norway. So we have the Northern Lights guarantee, October through February. And what that says is that we guarantee, our captains know where to go, that you will see the Northern Lights. And if you don't, we will give you a free cruise to take in the future so that we make sure you see the Northern Lights. And of course, March and April, springtime, and then the midnight sun in the summer. A little bit more beautiful, beautiful Norway and the fjords. Exciting promotions going on. One thing that we are doing with Bon Voyage right now for a show special is we are offering 180 euro, because we are a European company. It's 180 euro per person shipboard credit if you book your adventure with Bon Voyage. And we actually have other promotions going on. We have dollars off, we have free air to Antarctica, and this shipboard credit is combined with any of our specials that we have going on. And that's pretty much it.